the most spoken word in 2015. In 2015, thousands of refugees came to Europe, fleeing from wars, violence, and poverty. They are mostly from Middle East and North Africa. There has been an increase of 47% over the previous year, according to data provided by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. The first 4 months, the number of asylum applications has exceeded 184,000. However, many more came to our continent by craft, crowded, and with no decent human means. Many also failed to complete the crossing and did not had any help and support on rescue because according to the international maritime law, all ships must provide assistance to a vessel that asks for help. So, what happened? The Italian government reduced the rescue operations, keeping less vessels in the control of the Mediterranean Sea. On the other hand, they intensified the fight against gangs that were carrying refugees. This led to a human breakdown, where those arriving to the European continent end up not having humanitarian conditions, and many also do not show the minimum gratitude for the countries and people who have welcomed them. They murderer people who opened their house door, stole who extended their hearts, destroyed the countries that welcomed them, but above all refused to integrate into the new society to which they fled, whether the ideological level and at the civic level. In the political economic aspect, Germany created 10 rules, compulsory to be met by all member states, and will quote each one of them. First, the obligation to host refugees with equal rules for all member states. Second, there should be an unique European code for all the refugees in the European Union. Third, there should be made a fair distribution of all refugees, reforming as well the Dublin system, which advocated that the member state where it was requested asylum would be responsible for the refugee. With the new rule, they can just hand over asylum to any refugee that has free transit in Europe. Fourth, border creation, record and tracking of refugees on arrival, just on arrival. Fifth, all countries should exist states overburdened, Germany, for example. Sixth, there should be organized marine rescue in the Mediterranean Sea. Seventh, visas should have a less time-consuming process. Eighth, all states wishing to join the European Union and that met the respective criteria should be classified as safe source. Ninth, Germany needs to create an intelligent and controlled immigration law. 10th, any European policy must be comprehensive in matters of asylum, refugees, and migrations. This is all discriminated on the website of the German embassy in Lisbon. And what the rest of Europe have to say? To answer this question, I made some web searches and I will quote some of them. According to Lucy P. Marcus, CEO of Marcus Venture Consulting, there are many benefits in refugees. So they are young, educated, eager to integrate into society, meaning they are seen as antidote against aging. For the OECD, refugees will increase the GDP of the European economic by 0.1 to 0.2% because they may join in a short or medium term in the labor market. Patrick Artus, an economist at French investment bank Natixis, argues that receiving refugees enables Europe to not only honor its democratic union position that is rich and respectful of tradition, but also to expand their growth prospects. But until we can see the economic growth, what will we pay? Each one of us. Germany announced an increase in the millions in financial aid for refugees, and Austria declared that pretends to cut any European financial aid to all the countries that don't accept refugees. Where were they when Portugal, Spain, and Greece were most in need? With regards to Portugal and the support to refugees, it has been held that all will have access to healthcare without paying user fees until they get job and livelihoods. Until then, the state will pay. As well, the state will pay accommodation, food, family doctor, everything. Talking about family doctor health, where's the health check on refugees? The December 28 was created by MSF, borderless doctors, and measles epidemic in northern Syria, largely due to the interruption of the vaccination program in 2011 when the fighting increased, but also due to the continuous arrival of people. And these people came to Europe as refugees. They came without vaccination and they may be carriers and a future focus of contamination of disease for which we are not prepared or vaccinated, as well as yellow fever, meningitis, hepatitis A and B, typhoid fever, polio, rabies, amongst many others. We can't think this only happens to others. For example, here in Madeira Island in 2005, it arrives the first mosquitoes Aedes aegypti and beetles. They came from North Africa because people bought their palm trees and sand because it was cheaper than buying in Canaries. The result was many palm trees cut all over the island because the treatment is too expensive and the dengue disease. In 2012, here in Madeira Island, we had the dengue epidemic where thousands of people were infected and they had no notion of treatment or fighting techniques for the mosquito. And I think that we already forget what we should already learned from our ancestors. For example, when Christopher Colombo discovered America, soon he created a depopulation, not only due to the war, but primarily due to the illness, the flu, because the Indians were not prepared for that and they did not create antibodies. For example, the flu killed more people than the Black Plague in Europe. In conclusion, and in my opinion, I see no benefit in accepting refugees. We can take one for its wall, but where they have passed, we can see the trail of destruction, dirt. They are unable to respect any other religion apart from theirs, as well as they see any woman as inferior. They are incapable of being valued, hence the wearing of the burqa since their marriage in children. Now, my main question are what Europe expects from refugees and what refugees expect from Europe.
I don't like the idea of having too many refugees among us. They come from a different culture with different ideas and laws. Laws where women are not respected, when where everybody who has a different idea or religion is seen as an infidel. So someone who deserves to be punished or killed. Even so, I don't think that it's a good idea having too many of those people among us without any laws that oblige them to respect our culture, our way of life. If we go to a Muslim country, we have to cover our heads. We women have to cover our heads. And they come to our country and expect us to do that so different from our culture, so different from our ways of life. I am afraid that this exodus may transform our peaceful culture in a living hell.
I'm a favor of Syrian refugees because I think we have to give an opportunity to these people. They are suffering. If we say no to them, we are being racist. We can close our eyes to this reality. We have to help them. That's why I say yes to Syrian refugees.
The refugees. Well, it's a very big crisis in Europe now. Although I feel sorry for the innocent families that are fleeing from their countries because of war and other things, I really don't like the idea of they coming here because they come in great numbers and we don't have any control over what comes in. The majority of them are Muslims and they don't respect the ways or customs of the people that are giving them asylum. And they really don't like Christians, so it's going to be a problem.
I will ask my cat her opinion about the refugees. Shadow, what's your opinion? No opinion.